Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream today. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's really, really freaking cool. It's all about how do we automate our scheduling to make sure that we don't have to spend so much time figuring out our own calendar, but also have the immense clarity of exactly what we need to do, when we need to do it, and how we're going to go and do it. And today it's a special stream because we're going to be combining around 3 or 4 different technologies in order to achieve the effect that we want. And what I want to make sure that I tell you guys well in advance is that I want you guys to pick apart and choose exactly what works for you. Because not all the tools in my toolbox are going to be everything that you need for your workflow. So I hope you do speak up and share what's been the most exciting for you as we go on through this journey of finding out what exactly it takes to create an automated ultimate calendar manager tool. So let's get started and let's see what we're going to be talking about today. So switching over here, I always like to start off my streams by talking a bit about, what's really the foundation or the why, what, and how of which, this streams is going to be all about. And today you're going to see that we have a little bit of a different format just because I thought that it would be very nice to build a master's page, which is my way of saying my best practices page. This is how I'm planning out exactly what's going to be involved in really how to manage my calendar, right? This is really what I'm going to refer to every time I'm, lost or confused, or if I want to just figure out again, how do I manage myself better? This is what the page I'm going to be going on. And I'm going to talk about 6 things in which the purpose of my calendar resolves for me. And of course, again, this might be different for you, but I really want to be sure that these are the things that my calendar should end up resolving. So the first one is to be clear on my personal routines for the day. And if you guys have watched a few of my videos previously before, you guys know that I actually subscribe to an idea that's called core loops. I think that every single day I have certain loops that I go through that will help me, whether I'm getting motivated for a day, it's going to help me make sure that I am, getting clarity for the day, making sure I know what I have to do, or I'm getting work done, or I'm reflecting and making sure I decompress and saving my progress. There's just a lot of different routines I bundle up and package together so that I make sure that I do those daily routines on time and without fail, and making sure that those will help me get through the day. Let's show you what I'm talking about because I think visuals speak much louder than words. So inside my personal routines, right, I use Google Calendar and I have a note that says core loops. So I go to my Google Calendar and I can see that this is my core loops. I'm very, very particular about, how I'm going to get motivated for the day, right? Waking up early, exercising and showering, eating breakfast, and then doing my today's 5, which is basically just planning out how the things I'm going to learn throughout the day, 5 things I'm going to learn from. Then I'm going to try to get clarity. So I try to do some writing. I offload everything that I'm writing, that I'm thinking of into my paper. I do some planning and I catch up on my emails, I catch up on my calls. These are the things I do to get clarity on what exactly needs to be done throughout the day. Then I have these empty chunks here, which I'll talk about later on, but basically it's my get work done places where I'm going to make sure that I'm really going out there and getting my work done. I try to have around 3 chunks of 2-hour blocks of time to work on everything I need to work on, and I'll take like a longer break between those 2 hours. But this is the idea that I'll break them up into here. Also, this is the places where I'll schedule meetings as well. And again, this app will help me put everything together. So I'm very thankful for that. And then later on in the evening is, how I decompress, relax, de-stress, but also make sure that I am going on to reflect on my day and adding to, all the things that I've learned, saving my progress as it will, right? Because I'm basically planning everything out. So you can see that this is my core loops. And again, for everyone who's looking at it, it might seem a bit cluttered, but the idea is that I know what's going to happen in each different part of my day, and I can fall into more of a repetitive cycle because the things that I want to be very dynamic and very chaotic are the things that I'm doing, and everything else I believe should be static so that I'm very focused singularly on achieving what I want to achieve. Okay, so that's my core loops. And again, I do that in Google Calendar. The next thing is I want to be clear on my obligations, my meetings for a day. And that make sure it doesn't interfere with my routines. So I want to talk about how I currently do meeting scheduling, which is currently inbound. So I use an app called Motion. And again, you guys might have used apps like Calendly before or X.AI before they got acquired. But there's a lot of different tools out there. And, definitely this is not the first tool that provides this, but you can do some kind of scheduling, right? So right now, if I copy this link for this brainstorming link, I basically will see something like this. If I send it over to someone, they're able to choose from my calendar. Let's say they want to meet me for 30 minutes, which time slot on my calendar is available. And the beauty of using this app called UseMotion is that it actually makes sure that it's looking at my calendar, make sure that there's no conflicts between what's in my calendar and what people want to book. So that means that no matter what people book, it will never interfere with the things that are on my calendar or other events. So I'll never get double booked, right? That's a really cool part. Another really cool part about using this app, for example, and I will do a test booking just to show you guys, but another really cool thing is that when I do scheduling, right, I can actually create a booking link. So let me show you how to do that. So let's say I go ahead and, oops, that's making a new link. What I want to do is let's see if this actually opens up on the stream, because I want to make sure I show you guys properly. So let's go ahead and I say that I want to drag a time slot. So I can go ahead and I drag a time slot that I'm available. And then I say that I want this to be sent to someone and say, hey, I want to invite someone like that, and it will send them a message of like, hey, would any of these time windows work for a 30-minute meeting? And then it'll translate everything that I want to say in a very, very nice way of saying it. And I don't have to say it myself. Another really cool thing that I want to show you that I think cannot be understated is I can generate a message too. So for example, I have someone that currently is asking me for a time. Instead of just sending them the link, which may seem quite rude, and I used to do that, right? I'm like, hey, here's my link, schedule my time. But what if I wanted a more gentler approach? Well, actually, it will automatically create a message for me that says, hey, would any of these time windows work for a 30-minute meeting? And then if they click on these windows specifically, then they'll be able to go ahead and book. So I think that's really cool. It gives me a really good opportunity to ask people nicely, to book my time. And because they're doing it in this way, I don't really have to cross-reference against my calendar to see when exactly am I open, right? And I really think that is really cool too, because I can add like a personalized booking page. So for example, if I'm booking Jackie, right? Maybe Jackie wants to meet with me, right? And then I go ahead and I copy this message, or let's go ahead and just click on this link for now, because I know that this link is already working. So, oops, this is copied to my clipboard. So let's go ahead and paste this out. Let's go ahead and do that. So if I open that link specifically, it should say, hey, Jackie, that you can book the time. Let's see. Okay, so it didn't autofill. Yeah, so I think that works if only we send out the link as well with the email. So for example, if I send it out with the email of the invitee. But the idea basically is with this calendar app, I can book people can book me rather only in the times in which I am actually free. So I think that's very, very important. So that handles the second bit. But before I do a actual scheduling, I want to show you, for example, I want to talk about the next two things, and then I'll do a booking, because I think it's really, really important and why I think this is the coolest feature ever. So I can also do manual scheduling, of course, right? And again, using this app called Motion. If I go over to my calendar, you can see that I actually have more stuff than just what's my core loops. I have my core loops, but I also have my work calendar. I also have my personal calendar in red, work calendar in green. So you can see that these are all the things that I have to do. For example, right now we're in our Friday live stream. This is what I'm doing. And I'll have a site visit later on. I have a birthday lunch to go to. Like, these are all the things that I'm going to be doing for today. So what's really cool is that I can also schedule in myself manually, but I can also schedule in things into any calendar that I want. I can schedule this into my work calendar. I can schedule this into my personal calendar. So for people like me who use Google Calendar and Microsoft 365, it's really cool to have one app that lets me synchronize my events onto both calendars and not have to, while I'm at work, look at my work calendar and then think oh, does that interfere with my personal things I have to do? There's no question about that. It's all going to be very, very much communicated between those apps, all because I have one app to manage everything. So again, I'm a huge proponent of Notion. I really like it. I've been using it for the past 4 or 5 months, and it's only gotten better from here. So really, really cool tool. But the coolest tool hasn't come yet. Let me show you why. So you see that I have all these get stuff done chunks right here, right? So if I go to next, I have these get stuff done chunks. And I want to let you know that I actually don't have to plan them because they automatically move around my tasks that I have to do and also my events. Let me show you what I mean. So for example, if I go ahead, because I've already made ones for the weekdays, I'm just gonna make one for the weekend to show you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and add a new task. Let's add a new task and I'm going to do recurring. And I'm going to say daily on the weekends only. I want to do at least 1 hour of work. Okay, oh, sorry, 2 hours of work. So 4 chunks of Pomodoros. And I allowed you to split it up with 30-minute chunks. Let's go ahead and allow them to split it within 30-minute chunks. This means that over the weekend, I intend to do at least 2 hours of work, all right? Or 2 hours of get work done, whatever that work might be, stuff that's on my success plan. And then I'm going to break it up in 30-minute chunks. And I'm going to say anytime within my focus hours. And again, I'll show you guys maybe what focus hours means. Focus hours I've set to be these times during the day. So I have focus hours in the morning, I have focus hours in the evening. But like I showed you before, I have 2 hour blocks, basically 3 times a day during the weekdays and 2 times a day during the weekends. So, excuse me. So if I go ahead and I can say ideal start time as well, again, I don't really care about this because everything will schedule as it will because I already have my core loops in there to schedule out my sleeping times. So let's go ahead and call this get stuff done. And I'm going to add a muscle emoji because that's how I feel when I'm getting stuff done. Powerful. I'm going to go ahead and schedule this. So when I go ahead and schedule this, it's automatically going to look at my calendar and say like, hey, actually, today I have something going on here. So it's definitely going to get interfered with, right? So I'm only going to do 1 hour instead. But here, no problem. I can do 2 hours of work. If I go to the next ones for next week, I have something scheduled here. Okay, well, actually, for this example, this is a Monday, right? So I have something scheduled on Monday. So then instead of doing 3 chunks of 2 hour blocks, I'm doing half an hour, then I'm doing 1 hour. And then unfortunately, I don't have time to do more hours of work. So I think this is super, super cool because this allows me to really see when I have time to focus on the tasks that I need to do. Now, I'm not done here because what's really important and what I think is the best feature that I am currently taking advantage of is that I'm able to go ahead and again, someone can book my time, right? Let me just refresh this and book the time again because I want to show you. So right now, let's say I want to book myself for 45 minutes because I want to show you guys something more irregular. Then I go ahead and let's say I'm just simulating someone else booking my time, but I just want to pick thing that obviously I have a chunk of focus time there. Let's say something like 1 to 3 here, right? So Wednesday the 16th. So let's say Wednesday the 16th, I have a booking that's going to be from 1 p.m. onwards. Okay, I'm just going to say test, and this from test@conradlin.com. And this is a test event, for example, right? I'm going to go ahead and schedule this event. And then what's going to happen is on my calendar immediately, well, I guess within a few seconds, that is going to show up here. And then everything else got reshuffled. So I think that's so cool because again, when I used to do my Google Calendar, I used to put in all my tasks in a very static way. But the moment I put my task in, it wouldn't reschedule anymore because I've already decided that that's a task I want to do. And the calendar app isn't smart enough to know that this is something that is flexible, right? But now that I have these flexible time chunk blocks, I'm able to put in anything I want. Anybody can schedule my time. I can schedule my own time. So for example, I throw in something here as well. Let's say, this is another test event. And then I'm just going to throw it in here. And then everything also reshuffles because it says like, hey, there's another test event that I got to do. So I got to go ahead and reshuffle that. And you can see now I have my block here, my block here, my block here. So I really like this. It's awesome because it lets me go ahead and schedule out my focus times for working on my success plan, but it doesn't interfere with the stuff that I need to do, which are my obligations. Another thing I want to share with you that you can set in this app is that you can set how many hours of meetings do you really want in a day. So you can set it so that I only want maximum 2 hours of meetings, which I honestly really recommend. Anything more than 2, you're going to burn out a little bit. So my best kind of ratio is actually 2 hours of meetings and then 6 hours of work, 46 hours of work and then everything else in between. So that way that I don't end up burning out, I end up being able to communicate with the people that I need to communicate with, and I end up getting the things that I need to get done much easier. We're not done yet though. So let's keep moving on and let's talk about what else we're talking about here, because we've covered these first 4 things, but I think the really cool thing and the thing that we're going to be building today is, how do we sync these events to Notion? And let's talk about why we want to do that. So the first thing is I want to have a very easy way to generate meeting notes when a meeting is about to restart. So whenever a meeting is about to start, I want an entry to show up inside my success plan that tells me that, hey, a meeting is about to start. Here's the page. Start making meeting notes. I think that's a great workflow, and I want to have that. The second thing is I want to arrange specific tasks to be done at a specific time. So I want to make sure it shows up on my calendar. So both of those things are involving Notion, which, as all you guys know, is a tool that I love to use because it lets me really start planning out my day and start making sure that the things that I need to do are well structured and well organized and very intentional, right? I'm pursuing all my goals with intention. So before we move on, because we finished talking about Motion and Google Calendar just for now, we're talking more about automation now. I want to share Motion is a paid tool, so it's not something that I think everyone can afford. But if you want to trial for a free trial, I do have a referral link that I can give you that will give you $100 off when you get started. So again, if that's something that you want to try, that'll give you enough for, I think, around 10 months. I think that's well more than enough for you guys to use. If you guys want to use it, I really recommend it. I can't recommend it higher enough because, at least for my purposes, as you can see, there's a lot of functionalities and features that has made my own planning very, very simple. So again, we've covered the first 4, and now let's go in with the next 2 steps of what I want to build. And it's something I haven't built yet, so we have the exciting opportunity to build it together and talk about what really makes sense here. Okay, so let's get started, and I want to first start with the idea of syncing Notion tasks to my calendar, right? I want to do that first before syncing events when starting to Notion, because I think this is much easier than this thing. So let's go ahead and do that. I use a tool called N8N. Again, this is a tool that I've talked about before. It is completely free if you decide to self-host it, or not free, but rather the price of hosting. It is an open source. Tool, so it's definitely free if you have the capability to host it. And I will probably do a proper tutorial on how to run an N8N server because I think it's a very powerful tool to pair with any Notion template or Notion usage that you have, because I use it for a lot of things, including syncing any wins to the Make Work Fun app. Of course, if you're already using the Make Work Fun app, you don't need this yourself, but just so you know, the back end of this is actually run by the N8N automation. So I think it's very cool. By the way, if you guys do want the link for the Motion referral code, just email me as in the description below, and then I can send you the referral code as well. So email me at letstalk@conradlin.com for the referral code. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and make a new workflow. And this time I'm going to show you exactly how I use N8N to work around. And again, at this point, you might not be able to follow along, but it's okay because I just wanted to get you understanding the way in which to build connections together. And eventually I'm actually going to integrate this together with the app as well, so you don't have to do all this hard work. I've already done it for you. So let's talk about this. And what I like to do is I like to have it side by side so I can figure out exactly what needs to be done. So what I have here, actually, I'm going to open up a new page because I do have a page where I'm already starting to brainstorm everything. So let's go ahead here. So the simplest answer is everything syncs forever with respect to Google Calendar and Notion, but I need to consider what happens when I unsync, what happens when I resync, and do I sync everything? So the end result that I figured out was I probably just need a push to calendar button inside my Notion. And then if I push the calendar, then I can be able to grab something like the due date and then make sure that that's updated with the calendar. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to first start with a trigger. And the trigger probably is just a cron job because I need to make sure that when Google Calendar, let's see what happens here. Is this a trigger? There's no trigger for Google Calendar. Yeah, I realized that. Okay, so I'm going to put Google Calendar there for a second. I'm going to put a trigger node, which is time trigger. So let's go ahead and do specific time cron job. I think interval is better. So interval means that let's do every 30 minutes. It's going to trigger and update. Actually, is that too much or too little? Maybe every minute. Let's do that for now. So every minute, it's going to go ahead and trigger this Google Calendar poll event. So let's go ahead. This is not create. I want to, no, I don't start with Google Calendar. I start with Notion. So let's start with Notion instead. So let's start with Notion. I'm going to go ahead and do Notion. Let's see what this Notion trigger does. I'm really curious actually. So we're going to go with Coix3 Conrad's personal workspace as an example, and then page added to database. I don't want to do that because page added to database means every single database item will do that, and I'd rather loop through. So I'm going to not use the Notion trigger, and I'm going to go ahead and use Notion, this one, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my personal workspace. Whenever I have a get a page, what's going on? This is not right. This is not the right thing. Let's see. I don't want page. I want database page. There we go. Get all pages in a database, and I want to filter. So filters, I only want to filter on a multiple conditions. Okay, let's put a single condition first. Okay, it needs to be but multiple. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a condition. Okay, wait, single condition first. Okay, so I want something like this. So let's go ahead and make sure that this personal workspace is the right one. So give me a second. I'm going to grab this onto my other window just so that I can make sure that I have shared everything properly. Oops. So let's go ahead. Oops. Everything is flying around. Okay, can you guys still see what I'm showing? You can, but let's make sure I'm over there. Okay, and then perfect. So what I want to do, you guys can't see this right now, but I am trying my best to just edit my credentials. So give me a quick second. I want to make sure my secret key is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and go to notion.so. Let's go ahead actually to my Make Work Fun app, because I think that'll have my information much more readily available. So let's go ahead and give me a second here. I want to go to my account, and then I'm going to just go ahead and grab my secret key. Yep. Okay, it is correct. Perfect. And then my success plan is going to be this one. So my database ID, let's just go ahead and put in the manual one. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my screen back because you guys need to see it. Basically, I've set it to Conrad's personal workspace. I've set it to my success plan for my database ID, and now I can start filtering stuff. So I want to filter on a single condition first. There's a lot of stuff here, but what I want to do is I want to first add something here. So let's add a new thing. So let's add a new one for share push our calendar integration, our calendar. Let's just call it calendar. And then we're going to make this a select box. So select box, right? This. And then we have a select box like this. I'm just going to put it into here for now. And then the select box is going to say push. I have some options. Push to calendar. Oops. Yeah, push to calendar, update calendar, pushed to calendar. Push to calendar or sync with calendar. I think push to calendar makes more sense. Push to calendar because it's coming from one way. So push to calendar, sync with calendar. And one more option that should be update calendar. Should be update. I think just push it and sync is fine because I should do a check to see if it's already in there or not. So I think this is fine. So push to calendar, sync to calendar. Okay, let's leave it at that and let's see what works. I'm also going to do a duplication here, and I'm going to call this one calendar integration, and you're going to see why in a second, but we're going to make this a formula. This is going to parse out what it's in the calendar because I only want the text. Okay, so we have calendar integration, push to calendar. So what I want to do, I want to go ahead and find, so I'm going to refresh this, refresh expression, refresh list, sorry. And then we're going to go ahead and find, oops, why do I keep doing that? Okay, let's just say this is calendar integration right here. Then close that. Interesting. Okay, let me just close this and try again. So this should be calendar integration formula. Can I open that without having to open this? There's a little bug here. So let's go ahead and multiple condition maybe. And yeah, calendar integration and interesting, it's not showing me what exactly it needs to do with it though. It needs to be property name is something. Okay, give me a quick second. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to say that this is calendar integration formula. Yeah, wait, how come it's not showing me that part? Okay, let's delete everything for a second. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to take a look at what I've done before. So let's go ahead and change this from my workflow to Google Calendar and Notion integration. Let's go ahead and call it that. And then let's go ahead and see exactly how to work this out. So we're going to go ahead and save this. I want to go ahead and open one of my other things, which is, for example, a Notion win. Because I had a really complicated thing here. And yeah, there's a condition. Oh, maybe for formulas, I cannot do a condition. That's so interesting, actually. Okay, that's not a problem. For now, that's not a problem, but later on, I do know that there will be a problem. But for now, let's just go ahead and start. Make sure I get this in working. So filters, add a filter, single condition. I want the calendar, select, yeah, equals to push to calendar. And then I want a multiple condition. And I want also there to be a due date. So due date is not empty. There we go. Actually, let's do this and here because I believe that doesn't work that way. And calendar is equals push to calendar. Okay, so there's that. So right now, this should be able to return information. So if I execute it, nothing is there. That's fine. So let's go ahead and delete this for a second because this one is not working. I'm going to save this and then it's going to find nothing, right? I already know it because I have nothing that says push to calendar. So let's go ahead and now change that. So I'm going to say push to calendar, and also I want this to be on a due date of today with the specific time of, let's say, 3 p.m. Let's say, okay, so let's say 3 p.m. for me. Let's see how this works. Execute node. This should be able to pull something, right? So it got something. Awesome. So it got something here. I think that it has to be not only not empty, but I need like a time as well. But anyway, those are minor modifications I can do. So right now I have that information, right? I have that information and I ideally will start pulling every single minute. So from here, we're going to now make sure that we can push it into my calendar. So let's go ahead and say Google Calendar will be right here. And then I want to create an add event to my calendar or update, right? And depending on which, I need to understand if there's already something there. So let's first do create, because create is easy. I have a gcal there already, which is awesome. Let's see what's going on here. Refresh list. Okay, looks like it's not synced yet. So again, give me a second. I'm going to pull this over to the side so I make sure that I have my information proper. And I probably am still sharing this. So let's go ahead. Okay, no, it's all good. So let's edit this, credentials, and then we can go ahead and do that. Okay, perfect. It works now. So let's go ahead and make sure that I am sharing my screen again. So let's go ahead and go there. I'm gonna do this. That didn't work. Okay, perfect. We're back to here. And then now I can select which calendar I want to add it to. Obviously, I want to add it to my default meetings. And then my start time, I'm going to pull it from the information. So let's do the expression. My current node previously has some information. So Notion, I have information that's coming out. So let's make sure that I have that information. Let's go ahead and make sure that I use that information properly. So I'm going to connect these two first so that the information can be pulled. And then now I have input data here, you see. So output data here, let's go ahead and throw in the, for example, the due date. So we're going to say the start time is this, but then there's no end time. So we need to also go and put an end time in as well. So end time would be, let's go ahead and add an expression or as well. So we can go ahead and add an expression. So Notion, let's go ahead and put the due date. There's no end time right now, but we should have one. So then we go like this. And then before I retry, let me go ahead and put an end time here as well. So end time, maybe it's 5 p.m. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if that works as we expect it. So first I'm going to pull this information, make sure I have it proper. Again, it's going to show me one piece of information. I already know. And then here, it's going to show me that I do have information, right? Plus 15, 15. So let's make sure that I can actually create it. So it should create today. It should push it to my 15. Let's go ahead and execute this node. It might give me an error, so I'm very happy to see that. Oh, no, it does work. Awesome. So let's go ahead and make sure that it shows up here. So I scheduled something for this week. Undefined. Ah, well, why it's undefined is because we actually didn't put in anything in terms of the name, right? So but we can start already seeing like within like what, 10 minutes, we already have this connection, which is I think pretty cool. So let's go ahead and add some information. I think we need to add a description for sure. So let's add a, I need the name of the event. Where's the name of the event? So default reminder, yeah. Settings, I need to put the name of the event here. I know description is not the right thing because I think description, let's figure out. It's title and that's description, right? So title is what I need. So NaN, I need title, title, but there's no title. Is it summary? I think it's summary. Okay, so let's add an expression here. Notion. And before I keep adding that, I want to change this. This is get event wins. I should also make sure that it has events in the name as well. I might even change the way I do this, to be honest, because if I simply have a type for event, no, okay, I guess I know why. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Get event wins, and then I want to make sure that this changed, which it did. Nice, it's automatic. Okay, summary. I want to get this information from get event wins. I want to get the name of this thing. So the name of this thing is title or name, either one. Perfect. Name is here. And then I'm going to add a description because I also do have descriptions. So I'm going to add a description here that says it is going to be description. So here is description. Description. I think it's because I don't actually have a description in there that it's not pulling it up, which is fine. Yeah, it's only pulling the things that actually have information, which is fine. So let's go ahead and add description. This is a test description. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this one more time. And then it's going to pull up again. And now here I can add in the description. So JSON, we have description now, ideally. And I still don't. What's going on? I think just make it simple. I just put description here. How come there's no description? That's very interesting. I have everything else but description. Task, rewards, description. Let's execute this one more time and let's see, make sure that there's something there. Details. I'm gonna search description. Interesting, there's no description there. Okay, well, for now, I think it's fine. I am frustrated that it doesn't show, but it's fine. Beggars can't be choosers. Let's go ahead and execute this node and let's see what happens. So I'm going to first close this event because we don't need it. This event is can be deleted. And again, I'm just going to exit out of this because it will synchronize automatically. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to execute this. Again, I don't think there should be an issue. It got successfully executed. So let's go ahead and check out our motion. It should be popping up right here. Perfect. So now we have this. It has the right time as well. So that's amazing. So now what we've achieved is one-click push. But what we need to do is let my app know that it's already been pushed, right? So what we have to do is we have to go back to Notion and then we have to update that. So let's go ahead and update that. So we're going to go ahead and Notion. And then we're going to say update a page. So get a page. No, I need to do update. Why is it only create? I need to do data space page, update. Now page ID, I can connect that. So let's do this connection like this. I'm going to get my credentials and we're going to update based on the event wins, output data, JSON. There has to be a ID like that, right? So we have the ID. We're going to update information for the calendar. So what we just showed was calendar select. This needs to be now synced with calendar. So what we can do now, again, I'm just going to delete everything again. So we have one time that everything goes back to normal. So this got deleted. And now if I run the entire thing again, right, I now have updated and this should show synced with calendar, right? I can remove this now, it doesn't matter. But now that it shows synced with calendar, I can basically now know that, hey, this is already synced. And only when I change it again, so right now it's already synced with calendar, right? And let's say I start this interval, it's going to run every minute. I'm going to save this and I'm going to turn this active. So basically every single minute, it's going to search for new event wins inside my Notion database, and it's going to go ahead and push it out. But let's say that I change something here, right? So again, I'm just gonna confirm that it says we have a new item here. So let's go ahead and make sure there's a new item here. What's going on? I'm gonna refresh this as an example. I think I just deleted it, but let me double check. Yeah, I may have deleted it and it hasn't come back yet. Okay, so let's first change this to push to calendar so that when it runs again, we want to make sure that it's running. So we go ahead and do executions. So it's running already soon. Its interval is going to be every minute. That's fine. So we're just going to track to see when it starts running. I want to track only this Google Calendar and Notion integration. Yeah, so it's running. It triggered. Everything went. So let's go ahead and see. It did go. Perfect. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to change this, right? I'm going to change this. So 2 clicks. Again, just something minor, right? I might change something. I'm going to push the calendar again. So when I do this push to calendar again, what's going to happen is that it's going to again pick it up, and when the next minute comes, this is going to switch to synced with calendar, and ideally, actually no. Okay, so I already know what's going to be a problem. So it's going to make 2 events, which I don't want. I want this to update the same event. So let's go ahead and make sure that it's going to update the event instead of pushing it. So let's go ahead and put a filter here. So you see it's getting more and more complex as we go, right? So this is the fun part. So let's do an if statement. We're going to do an if statement here. And we're going to break this connection for a second. So we're going to do an if statement. And then this if statement is... Okay, if... I'm going to rename this. So I'm going to call this one if updating... So if updating, then we go that. If it's creating, then we go and do this, okay? Actually, if new events, I think we do it this way. If new event, we go here, and then if not a new event, then we go here. So what we're going to search for is we're going to add one more additional, and actually I'm just thinking a bit openly now, because what I think we can do is I can make it a checkbox as well, because I do like checkbox. Okay, so share with calendar. Oh, but I don't want it to be unsynced, I guess. Give me a second. I want to think about this. Yeah, I think I like this. I like this approach better. But I do know that later on I'll have some issues with it. Okay. So for now, let's just go ahead and do this. Green. This one is push to calendar. So this one's going to be yellow. And what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a new property that's going to help us keep track of the Google Calendar ID. So let's go ahead and say that Google Calendar ID, or calendar ID is like this, or URL maybe. Let's do URL. I think ID is simpler, but let's just do ID for now. But later on, I think URL will make sense as well. So we're going to do calendar ID. And what we want to do here is if calendar ID is empty, right? So we have calendar ID is empty. So if string, the value is add expression, the nodes get event wins. So calendar ID. There should be a calendar ID. is empty, then it's a new event. Otherwise, then it's not. Okay, so let's run this. Let's see if there's any information. So there's nothing found because it's not push to calendar. That's fine. So we do push to calendar. And then we run this again. So calendar ID should be empty, right? And then again, it's very interesting to me that I can't see that calendar ID in here. But I think there's just too many things in here. Yeah, calendar ID should be here somewhere. It's fine. I just need to throw in the information after. So let's say it got synchronized to Google Calendar. Let's go ahead and do this. So it should be able to push it to Google Calendar. I should be able to get some feedback on this. So I have some information here. So what should happen is that I have a calendar ID, right? And I also have an HTML link. So I think this is the ID I need to update. So let's go ahead and make an update one as well, because I need to figure out how to do that. So calendar, I need to go ahead and make an update. So the Google Calendar, I need to update an event. Calendar ID, again, should be meetings. And then the event ID. So I'm looking for event ID. So right now, first, let's rename this to create event in Google Calendar. And then we want this to be update event in Google Calendar. So update event in Google Calendar. So there's that. And then what we're going to do here, if it's false, we obviously go here. But what I want to know is that what is the information? So I have the ID here. And this ID is different. Oh, this ID is here. Ah, very cool. Okay, so I need this ID. So calendar ID, I'm going to add a property that's going to change. Calendar ID, I'm going to throw in what we just learned before, which is the previous node, output data, and then we're going to find our ID, just like that. So that's going to synchronize. And then if there's something in ID, then I'm going to find that information in the ID. So we're going to go ahead and add that information. If Notion, where am I going? Create get events wins, and then we're going to go ahead and calendar ID, which somehow isn't there. So let's go ahead and just throw it in manually. Then it will do that. So let's go ahead and run this. So because now calendar ID should have this information. So ideally, if I go ahead and run this, it should update that instead. So let's go ahead and also update information. So we're going to update the, we're going to update everything if it runs like this, right? So we're going to update the start time, the end time. So start time will be the same, end time, sorry, it will be different. So we go ahead and add expression, nodes. We're going to go ahead and go with the get event wins, output data, due date, start. And then we're going to go ahead and add expression. Oop, that was for the end. Ah, interesting, it got swapped. Let's do one at a time. We have get event wins, update, due date, start. And then let's do also the end time, which is going to be the add expression, nodes, get event wins, output data, due date, end, just like that. And then more information is the summary. So I might have to update the summary as well. So again, you can see that this process gets a bit tedious, but again, I'm just setting this up for one time and then we don't have to do it ever again. And later on, of course, I will automate this inside our system so that you don't have to do it ever, right? But if you want to do it for yourself, you want to have control over your own system, definitely feel free to try it out. Again, all these tools are relatively cheap, and they are ultimately going to save you so much time and headache. So I can't find it. So let's go ahead and just call this name. I know it's called name. And then summary as well, or description. So go ahead and add a description, even though I can't find a description. So let's go ahead and get event wins, output data, go find description. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and run this. Let's go ahead and do that. So no data, meaning that it didn't do anything because it didn't go into the false. So it's true, not false, right? So the interesting information is that it's not picking up that information. It's not picking up the, which is very interesting to me because I do have something there in calendar. Ah, because it's not pushed. So let's go push to calendar. Let's run until here and not create an event because I just want to see if it will go to true or false. It will go to true still. Let's figure out why. So I think the issue is that it's not actually picking up the information inside that text field, which is quite interesting to me because it's picking up all the formulas, but not picking up a text field. So let's figure out why. So calendar is pushed to calendar, so that's there as well. Status is there, target is there, upstream has something as well. So what is stopping it from picking up this description information, like rich text is apparently it's what's calling it. So what happens when I turn it not simple? I'm curious. Oh, okay. I feel like this has everything then. Yeah, due date, everything, URL. This looks better, but I'm still looking for ID. Oops, calendar ID. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so it's inside here now. We have all this information, and we should be good. Okay, so let's keep going. This one is definitely wrong now. So let's go ahead and get the event wins, output data, JSON, properties. There we go. And then now we can go ahead and grab the exact thing that I need, which is calendar ID, rich text item, and I want this information. Oops, let's delete everything. And I want this specific information, which I have. And then create events. So again, everything gets a bit messed up here because we have to do it again. But let's just go ahead and get event wins. Actually, if I just do due date, does this work like this? Very interesting. Okay, date. That doesn't work like that. Okay, we try one more time. So we go nodes, get event wins, output data, JSON, properties, due date. Let's go with my due date. I need the date, I need the start and the end. So let's go ahead and go ahead with the start. And then I want the end as well. So the end, I can just cut that out. The end is right here. So that's simple. Description is the same thing. We're gonna have to go all the way deep inside. So we can go to properties. Actually, I think at this point I can just go ahead and do this. Not due date, but I want description. But description needs the text or not. Okay, never mind. That doesn't work like that. I need plain text. So item 0 and then plain text, just like that. Okay, and then summary is the same thing. So let's go ahead and do this, get event wins, output data, JSON properties, and now I want name, title, item, and then plain text. Perfect. So we have that done as well. So all this information is there. Now I already know that I'm going to need this, so I'm just going to copy everything and put it into here. So start is going to be here. Description or end is going to be here. So I'm just saving myself a little bit of time without having to search through that whole list. Summary is going to be here. Summary is going to be, oops. Yep, summary is going to be here. And then description is going to be there. So description is going to be there. Yep. And then just make sure I don't have double here. I do have double here, so let's delete this. And then what I'm going to do is event ID as well. So event ID is going to go here. Let's see if there's anything else I need to tweak. Let's go ahead and make sure that I have this information proper. This will update that page ID. This will update it with, I need to update this information. So let's go ahead and key in that information with, yeah, the ID with, so current node or create event in Google Calendar. I need ID. So where's my ID now? Oh, interesting. That disappeared. Oh, wait, it's because I didn't run it. Oh, no. This disappeared now. So this text needs to be rerun. Let's go ahead and rerun that. I know there's like double this now. So let's go ahead and delete this. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I'm going to go ahead and delete this as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I need this to also not have that. So let's clear out the calendar ID for a second. And let's push the calendar, of course. I'm gonna run this. So everything should go as planned. No, it's going to my false because I have something in there, but that has changed. So let's run this one more time. So calendar ID, let's see, calendar ID. Yeah, it's empty. So if I run this, I should have a true state. It's empty. Yeah. And then I should have this state, which will push the events in. And then now I should be able to get an ID. Let's go ahead, create event. I should have an ID. Wonderful. And I'll update this. So if I now run this, then ideally this changes to synced with calendar. I have a calendar ID. So next time, so right now I have something in here, right? 2-click. And if I change this to 1-click, so 1-click, I can change everything drastic. Let's even, I even change the time, right? I change the time. I say like, actually, no, it's going to start at like 4 p.m. and it's going to end at 7 p.m. just as an example. So now if I want to update this, I'm going to push the calendar. I can actually find out that I have a new event. So I'm going to turn it active and let's see what happens. Actually, before that, I might also want to make sure I update this as well. Update. Okay, before I push, I want to make it synced first because I want to update this. Let's go ahead and update Notion. Go ahead and save that. And then this one is update Notion as well. And then we're going to go ahead and link this. Update Notion. This one is going to be a one that's created as well. Update Notion on updated events. And then update Notion on created events. Okay, so we're going to have 2 of them here. We're going to connect this one as well because I know for a fact that this one needs to be updated. The calendar ID can be updated again. That's fine. That's not a problem. But the most important thing is that this switches to sync with calendar. So let's go ahead and let's save that. So we still have this thing that hasn't been pushed because we haven't synced it. Now we're going to push the calendar. And now we're going to take a look at the execution. Let's see what happens. So I only want to see my Google Calendar with Notion. And you can see I have a ton of these things that I'm currently playing around with. But But right now we have this. So let's see when it will run. So usually when it runs, we already know because it'll switch from push to calendar to sync with calendar. And actually, as I'm building this, I'm thinking about like doing things like being smart on the uh, last modified on. Because if I can pick up when it was last modified on, I can actually probably make the two-way sync very, very succinct. So I think that might be actually really nice as well. Anywho, let's see what's going on because it doesn't seem like it's running. I don't know why. Let's go ahead and there's an error. So let's go ahead and see why the error happened. Calendar ID.title. I think I just need to run it one more time. Okay, I think I know what happened. Okay, perfect. So it updated it, and that's not a problem. It changed the time, 4 to 7. But what happened here is just, I know exactly what happened. This is the wrong thing. So update event in calendar ID. There we go. Execute node. Perfect. And this is now synced with calendar. We have the right things. Now we save. Perfect. So now let's also do a two-way sync just to finish the loop. And I think we'll have to call the stream here because I actually really wanted to do one more other thing, which is when the event starts to actually sync it in. That's something we can do later on. I don't think that's really hard to do. But what I really want to do right now is to make sure I show you guys like what happens when I change this information. Will it change Notion? And of course it should, right? So what I'm going to do to make that happen is I need to make sure that this is coming from Notion. So I need information to know that's coming from Notion. So first, when I push this information, I need to also push in the Notion ID. So let's go ahead and when I create, let's go with the updates scenario. So when I create something, I should know that it's from Notion, correct? Okay, so only when I create, I think. So let's delete this. And then I'm going to delete this as well. And then let's push and let's see what happens. Because I need to figure out where to put in that information. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, it went false because it already got pushed. No, it didn't. Why? Okay, let's pause this for now as well so it doesn't run when we're trying to do this. We're going to see if there's a new event or not. Let's see if it's true or false. It is true. Wonderful. And now I have the options to push this in. Okay, I have a new field. So I need to change one of the fields. And I think I'll just put it inside my description for now because I think description is probably what I need to do. Yeah, so description, let's just go ahead and not put description, but instead put the ID of the page. So to get ID, I already have this information here. So let's just get the ID. Okay, let's get the ID like that. And then what I'm going to do, and later on I can make it a proper link, but for now I just want to make it simple. So we have the ID there. And then what happens is, yeah, same thing with the description. The ID is there as well. So if I push it in with the ID, I can make it so that whenever I change an event and it has the ID in the page, I can also make sure that it updates. So here we have an ID. I think we should also add Notion ID, so colon Notion ID. But again, that's a later thing that we can do. But basically what I want to do now is let's save all this, right? And we can also update it this way and just make sure that we finish the loop. So it pushes, it says push to calendar or sync to calendar. We have that. Let's turn this on, activate and save. So that's going to run only if we have a new one. But what we want to do is we also want to within this integration, I think. Yeah, within this integration, I'm also going to see if I changed anything. Okay, let's just make a new integration for now. I'll tell you guys why. I think that's important. But let's go ahead and just change it first. So if Google Calendar has a change, so calendar. So if there is an update in the calendar, so let's go ahead and get all. I want to limit it, obviously. I want to limit it. Let me think. Okay, I think what we can do now to keep it simple, let's just do the two-way sync first, because I think that's more important. And then, or not the two-way sync, rather, let's just go ahead and do the 15 minutes before a meeting. I wanted to also update me if I haven't had that meeting already inside the system. So let's go ahead and switch workflows and work changes. Yeah, because I have this interval already. So let's go ahead and get events. So Google Calendar events. So if a Google Calendar event is about to happen in the 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this as well. So if the event, I'm going to retrieve an event, get all events from default meetings that is going to happen in, so start time is going to be now plus 15 minutes. So let's say parameters. So let's go at NAN now. I need time. Let's see. How do we do time? I need this. Probably is this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and put it into my NAN. So this is the expression. So this is the current time right now in terms of this server. So I need to make this into a... Okay, wait, no, this is current time. Interesting. What happens when I feed this in? I need to match it basically. Plus 15 minutes. Okay, I think the best way to do it is to get the time right now. And I've done that before, so give me a quick second. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up that time right now. I'm gonna open up, and I know I've done that here. Every minute. I need the time right now. Is this it? No, okay. Oh, add 7 days. What's this? Yeah, something like this. Okay. So this is it. So I need this, what's it called? It's a time module. So let's go ahead and do time. So time, date and time. Okay, so we have a date and time. We're going to do that first. And then run this if I need to run this. So based on when it runs, I want to know the time. So format a time or calculate a time. So date value is now. So we have a now format. Yeah, so let's try this and then let's see what happens. I want to add 15 minutes. So 15 minutes. And property name, this one is going to be event start. Duration until event starts. Okay, let's go ahead and execute this node. I'm very curious if what this will give me. So it'll give me plus 15 minutes. Okay. So let's go ahead and say that it has to be the start time is, yes, the start time is exactly that. So so set the time difference. Okay, so set the time difference. I'm going to go ahead and pull any Google Calendar events that is going to be at the time of set the time difference, output data, this. So if I execute this, basically nothing will show up because nothing's going to be that exact. Whoa, that's very interesting. What is it giving me? Why are these? Let's go ahead and see all these things. Okay, so these are all showing me the start time of this minute, of that time. Not created or updated. Very interesting. I think it's just because the start time is... Yeah, I need to give time zone as well. Okay, this one might take me a bit longer, so I'm debating if this is the best time to go through this whole thing. But basically, I just want to show you guys, like, the process is I've now been able to synchronize my events over to the Google Calendar. I also would like this to sync back if I ever change anything. So that's definitely something I'll add. But what's also the really cool thing that I really want to do is when events are starting, even if I didn't have it in Notion, it wasn't a Notion task to begin with, I want that to throw it into my success plan as well, because I think that's definitely very, very important in order for me to make my meeting notes. At the moment, just to give you a glimpse of that, let me show you my my daily planning page. Oops, my daily planning page is currently on my other screen, so let's go ahead and do that. So I have a daily planning page. So inside my daily planning page, I actually have this place where I can do my focus and I can see upcoming meetings. So then basically all this stuff gets thrown into here, and then I can see it as I go on, and I can basically add notes if I want to based on what I currently have to do with there. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. We'll keep working on this because I think this is not going to be done in one stream, but I will definitely release a full video on exactly how I do my entire connection. I hope that this gives you some glimpse into how you can build it for yourself. Again, no need for really true technical knowledge. I'm just simply playing around and trying to figure out how I can exactly synchronize everything to my needs and get everything that I need. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please take care and enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye now.